Ben, you got my Ben Marshalls.
Yeah. Ben, sorry.
Yeah, I think he didn't quite get in the end zone. He was down here in the low red, but that was a really nice play by him. You know, really good coverage. It was a nice ball by CJ, but to go up and get that and finish the play, because a lot of guys get their hand on it and they have it, but they can't complete it. That was what was impressive, completing it. So I'd like to see more and more of that from Ben. He's got talent, just got to be more consistent.
How would you assess the quarterback competition?
Boy, I thought all three of them today had really good moments. You know, the tape will tell us the details, but very competitive. You know, very, very competitive.
Do you have a desired timeline for naming a starting quarterback?
As soon as possible, but you know, we're not gonna put a timeline on it and make a decision because of a date. We're gonna make the decision when it's right for the team. And I think all three of those guys are just getting better and better. So.
Are you a little concerned about the ability to finish drives? I know that was one of the things you were looking for at football in the end zone.
Yeah.
Haven't necessarily seen that much the last few days.
Yeah. Obviously, we want to score touch. You know, the first half today, I thought the offense moved the ball pretty well. Got multiple first downs, and then down here we had a bad exchange. You know, or a penalty that took us out of, you know, or would put us behind the chains, and then we ended up having a kick. So I'd like to have seen us maybe stay on rhythm on first and second down a little bit better. Also a couple times where we kicked a field goal, and we had planned to kick a couple field goals. So, you know, depending on the situation of the game, maybe those are fourth and goes, and then you can pick up a first down and have a chance to score. But yeah, we need to do a better job on the first, second, third down of earning first downs and not relying on the fourth.
How has Chandler progressed? Because today hit the big deep ball, and it feels like he's had some pretty good practices here lately.
Yeah, I think, like I said before, all three of those guys getting better. Chandler, Fernando, you know, CJ. I think all of them have had moments in practice. Obviously, out here in the scrimmage today, did some really good things, and it's a really competitive room right now. Glad they're all here for sure.
How are you feeling about the quality of depth on the offensive line? It seems like you have more viable pieces this camp.
I mean, Coach Blesh has done a nice job with that group since he's been here, and there's more and more guys in there competing. You know, I think we're trying to find the right mix and also train a couple people at multiple spots so you have your best players on the field at all times. You know, I think O-line and interior D-line is, you know, there's just the recruiting is very competitive. There's just fewer bodies like that out there that can do the things that you're asking them to do. We have some young guys that are coming along, just need more and more practice. You know, we got a couple guys dinged up we need to get back, like Siwape. But we're always looking to build depth at that position.
How are you feeling about Fallon Tinkaris as far as the edge guys that you brought in for this fall?
Yeah, I mean, same kind of deal. They just each day a little more comfortable with the playbook. You see the flashes, though. You know, Sheck with his power and Serene with his athleticism. He made a really athletic play here on this fly sweep. But for both of them, it's, you know, consistency in what we're doing, alignment, assignment, technique, effort to the ball. You know, both of them have really good traits, but we just got to continue to make strides each day on their consistency and doing their job.
Is it concerning at all to see the number of contributors on the sidelines 10 days into practice here?
Yes, but it's just the game of football, and we got to get guys back. We need everybody. So you don't go into the camp thinking that's going to happen, but this is where we're at. So we're anxious to get those guys back on the field.
Do you expect guys like Woodson Matthews and Siwape to be back on the field within the next week?
I do, but that is between them and the doctors. And I don't decide when the players come back. The doctors and the trainers tell us if they're available to practice and play, and then we put them in. But we don't decide when they come back. That's between them and the doctors.
How do you assess the scrambling ability of quarterbacks when they're not supposed to be hit?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, they're taken off for the most part when they need to, and it's a fine line because there's nothing like playing live. As you see, we went live with the last group, and you wear that gold jersey and you don't get touched, and then all of a sudden it goes live, and things are a little different. So the good thing is Fernando has played, Chandler has played, CJ has played, but you're trying to, it's toeing the line, keeping those guys up and healthy, and also giving them realistic looks so they can improve.
But assessing how they're able to scramble, do you just look at tape from previous years or stuff?
Well, it's the feel in the pocket. It's when to go. It's when to hold the ball. It's when to get rid of the ball. When to get down. It's all that, and they're all, have varying levels of escapability and feel. So, you're looking for the instincts. And you want that to show up in practice, even though you might not be hitting them. But there's certainly rushers coming, and there's stuff happening in front of them. So the more we can get that, the better.
Jamal Wally had a nice touchdown run. Seems to be having a pretty solid camp. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, he shows up in flashes. I think there's just same deal. He's got just more consistency and knowing what to do. The techniques that Coach AT's working with him on, but he's big. And he got behind his pad. You saw over here he had a nice run down here, maybe late in the scrimmage, and then at the very end he had another nice run. So, yeah, he's got some ability, but just young and learning a lot. Yep.
How important is it to get EJ and Belai some looks here and some live reps?
Well, you'd like to give everybody as many reps as you possibly can, but sometimes there's certain position groups where you might be a little deeper, and some where you might not be as deep, so you're managing that. We have deep quarterback room, and it was awesome for EJ to get out there. And EJ's really this last week has shown up 7-on-7, 1-on-1, just his ability to throw the ball, and got him into the scrimmage here and made a really nice throw on a third down over here. Same with Belai. Belai throws a really good ball. So it's nice getting those guys some more reps. I'm sure they want more, but right now we got some older guys in the room that we're trying to get ready to play, and towing that line of getting the right people the right reps at this point in time.
Last week you talked about how emotion can be a weapon or make you look like a fool. How would you assess your team's response over the last week in that regard?
Better. Yeah. Just want to channel it, use it the right way. It's an intense game. It's a physical game. It's a violent game. I mean, these collisions are real, and there's frustration that on a given play, one side of the ball wins, the other side, gets beat, and you got to be able to snap back and focus on the next play. And so if you can use that energy and passion and emotion and channel it the right way, it can be a weapon for you. But if you don't, then you lose focus, and it can be a hindrance. So I think guys taking a step there, and certainly don't want to see the intensity go away. I mean, we'd much rather have to tell them to slow down than get going. So, yeah.
How much do you anticipate having some clarity on depth chart and all that kind of stuff by the end of this upcoming week?
Yeah, I think it's, we'll go watch today's tape, and there's certain positions that we're going to start stacking. I mean, that depth chart, they're magnets for a reason. You can move them. They're not in cement, so we have magnets, and we can move those magnets around, and there's some places where they're right next to each other. And so we'll go watch all this video and assess this past week, rack of practices, and look at what we need to do to prepare to move forward, and where those reps need to be allocated. But it's constant. It's constant. Those things are changing really every day, not even week by week.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good one.